The U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill to suspend the $31.4 trillion debt ceiling today, with support from both the Democrats and the Republicans. In doing so, the House overcame major opposition led by hardline conservatives and avoided from defaulting. Calling the agreement a good news for the Americans, Biden urged the Senate to pass the bill quickly so that he could sign it into law. The bill is seen as a compromise between Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, as the measure drew opposition from 71 hardline Republicans who wanted deeper spending cuts and more stringent reforms. Former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence is set to enter the 2024 presidential election race next week. Pence served as the second in command during Donald Trump's tenure and has increasingly distanced himself from the former Republican president since his election defeat in 2020. However, Pence has continued to embrace many of Trump's policies while projecting himself as well-balanced and a consensus-oriented alternative. Pence has also appealed more directly to the evangelical Christian community, spending significant time in recent months touring mega churches across the country. U.S. President Joe Biden has approved a new military aid package for Ukraine, which is estimated to be up to $300 million. The package also includes additional munitions for drones, along with a set of other weapons. The new package is set to boost Ukraine's air defense capabilities to fend off Russia's air assaults on Kyiv. According to reports, the new package includes munitions for Patriot missile batteries and high-mobility artillery rocket systems, as well as Avenger and Stinger air defense systems, mine-clearing equipment, anti-armor rounds, unguided Zuni aircraft rockets, night vision goggles, and about 30 million rounds of small arms ammunition and an undisclosed amount of other artillery rounds. The Russian Defense Ministry has stated that the Ukrainian Navy's landing ship was destroyed in its strike on Odessa harbor. Ukrainian officials had reported a Russian attack on Odessa port causing fire, but didn't elaborate upon the damages. The Russian Defense Ministry has claimed that the ship was the last Ukrainian Navy ship that remained in service. However, their claim couldn't be independently verified. While speaking at a press conference dedicated to International Children's Day, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky claimed that at least 483 children have been killed during the course of Russia's invasion. Zelensky also emphasized that thousands of Ukrainian children were kidnapped, separated from their families, and illegally deported to Russia. Zelensky further added that Russia's full-scale invasion has uprooted millions of children from their homes and turned many into orphans. Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki met his Russian counterpart President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on Wednesday. During his visit to the Russian capital, Putin said that the two nations should pay attention to the development of trade and economic ties between both parties. In March 2022, Eritrea was one of the 5 countries to vote against the United Nations resolution condemning Russia's military operation in Ukraine.
The global order, which is on the cusp of radical transformation phenomenon.
The German government has instructed Russia to close 4 out of 5 consulates in Germany. This move is seen as a retaliation after Moscow set a limit on the number of staff at the German embassy and other related bodies in Russia. The move reflects a new low in relations between Moscow and Berlin since Russia's attack on Ukraine in February 2022. German Foreign Ministry spokesperson has expressed the intention to create a parity of personnel and structures between the two countries. French President Emmanuel Macron has warned against a stalemated conflict in Ukraine that would sanctify Russia's territorial gains. Speaking at the GlobeSec Forum on Wednesday, Macron said time will be on Russia's side if Ukraine's allies settle for a ceasefire rather than a comprehensive peace deal. He said that a stalemate would mean war again tomorrow or the day after tomorrow and would weaken everyone. NATO is holding a two-day foreign ministers meeting in Norway. The Norwegian king welcomed NATO foreign ministers to the royal palace in Oslo. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg is chairing the meeting and he also met the king. NATO is optimistic about Sweden's membership before the July summit. Sudan's army has suspended talks with rival paramilitary force over the ceasefire and aid access, raising fears that the now 6-week-old conflict will push Africa's third-largest country deeper into a humanitarian crisis. The armed forces accuse the paramilitary of lacking commitment in implementing any terms of the agreement and continuously violating the ceasefire. The United Nations says that the conflict has killed hundreds of people and displaced millions. Ahmed Abu al-Ghei, the Secretary General of the Arab League, welcomed the Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh at the Arab League headquarters in Cairo on Wednesday. Shtayyeh is the head of the high-level Palestinian delegation on a 3-day visit to Egypt. In a statement issued by its media office, the official spokesperson for the League's Secretary General said that the meeting is to find ways to follow up the outcome of the Jeddah summit on the Palestinian issue. More than 500,000 state workers and union leaders took to the streets of Peru's capital Lima to protest against President Dina Boluarte's government and to demand salary increases. The protesters say that Boluarte's government hasn't reached an agreement with the numerous unions for a salary increase. The peaceful march reached outside the Congress, where hundreds of anti-riot police were present. The union leaders have expressed that they will continue to agitate unless a collective bargaining begins. Nepal's Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal is in India for a 4-day visit and is slated to meet with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. During his visit, Dahal is expected to strike hydroelectric power and airlines deals while on his first overseas trip since assuming the Prime Minister's office in December last year. The Nepalese Prime Minister will seek a long-term deal to export hydroelectric power and opening up of new air routes with New Delhi. Hundreds of artifacts stolen from secret excavation sites in Italy were put on display in Rome after being returned from the United Kingdom. The set of artifacts, which can be dated between the 8th century BC and the medieval period, and whose value is estimated at 12 million euros, was in the possession of an English company in liquidation. The collection also included precious jewelry made with bronze and amber. Sweden, which has the lowest smoking rate in the European Union, is close to declaring itself smoke-free. Like in most of Europe, smoking isn't allowed inside bars and restaurants in Sweden. But since 2019, Sweden's smoking ban also applies to their outdoor seating areas. According to Eurostat statistics agency, in 2019, only 6.4% of Swedes over 15 were daily smokers. This number is the lowest in the EU and far below the average of 18.5% across the 27-nation bloc. Experts give credit to decades of anti-smoking campaigns and legislation. Now, at least 11 people were injured in the first 2 days of the traditional bullfighting festival in Peru. In this famous festival, thousands of people spontaneously run with the bulls to test their courage and bravery against these animals. The injured suffered head injuries and bruises in various parts of their bodies and required immediate medical attention. The body camera of a police officer captured a car in Georgia flying through the air after launching off the ramp of a tow truck. The car, which was at a high speed, launched itself off the tow trucks while landing. The car hit another vehicle that was traveling along the highway. The police reported that the driver in the accident survived but was hospitalized with injuries. NASA is publicly addressing the subject of UFOs a year after launching a study into unexplained sightings. The space agency televised Wednesday's 4-hour meeting with an independent panel of experts. The team includes 16 scientists and other space experts, including veteran astronaut Scott Kelly. The team insists that NASA is not hiding anything from the public, and a detailed report is expected to be released by the end of July.
The UN independent study was commissioned to create
The Chilean government has shut down its state-owned Codelco copper mining company. The closing comes after decades of the factory contaminating Quintero Bay with toxic gases while turning it and 15 other companies into an environmental sacrifice zone. The latest mass intoxication by pollution in the region occurred a week ago and affected nearly 100 students who suffered intoxication due to poor air quality. More than 50,000 inhabitants of the bay regularly breathe in sulfur dioxide, a toxic and corrosive gas that irritates the nose, eyes and throat. An environmental alert is still in effect to this day. Many Amazon employees in Seattle staged a walkout on Wednesday to protest against the e-commerce giant's changes to its climate policy, layoffs, and a return-to-office mandate. Hundreds of people gathered at Amazon's Seattle headquarters and started chanting slogans like "Emissions climbing, time to act." According to an activist group known as Amazon Employees for Climate Justice, more than 1,900 Amazon employees have pledged to protest globally. The agitation was triggered by Amazon's recently eliminated goal of net zero carbon emissions by its company shipments by 2030.
Power to the workers. Power to the workers. The future's in our hands.
But without further ado, I just want to go ahead and talk about why we're...
Residents in the American city of Massachusetts witnessed the effect of Canadian wildfires as smoke from the flames of Nova Scotia caused an unusual haze in the sky. Canada has been grappling with raging wildfires in parts of the country as flames through Nova Scotia continued to spread, fueled by gusty winds and low humidity. The Canadian wildfire has forced 18,000 people to evacuate their homes in Halifax. However, no fatalities have been reported yet.